You are listening to the 312 Squadron podcast. My name is Andrew Kuba.
I'm Manny.
And I'm Nick.
And this week, we recap a big league debut for the 312 Squadron at the Crossroads Classic, enter the Gauntlet, and dish out some hot takes as we rank Star Wars shows. So first, we're going to go into the Crossroads breakdown. Now, Nick was there streaming the event, so you can go on our Twitch or on YouTube to find the commentary from some of the ships and some of the lists that were at the Crossroads Classic. And he was working it with co-host Matthew Carey, and it was a great time had by all. So we can start there with some of the list breakdowns. And Nick, if you want to just kind of get us up to date and tell us what you were seeing there, what was the vibe of the tournament like?
Yeah, first of all, thanks to the Hangar 19 folks in Indy who thought of us to stream this event. This is the biggest event that we've ever done. 3.5 hours away from home. Took all our gear set up. We had a beautiful setup. As some of you guys who did see it, you saw the amazing X-Wing banner with the Fury of the First Order behind the players and our player cam. And Matt and I had a lot of fun, really good commentary, really fun games. We had at one point 3 decimators on stream at the same time. It was just overall a really smooth, great, fun, and interesting X-Wing event. And shout out to Michael Simon, spoilers, who did win it all. What did I see? Well, I saw a lot of what I expected, and then I saw a few people try to do something a little different. I saw there was a little bit more scum than I expected. There were a lot more decimators. I think people were trying to find a way to get Rear Admiral Jirnu a little bit more of a spotlight in the meta, since he has gone down in price from I think starting initially way back when at like 9 or 10, and then he went to 8, and then he's at 7 now with a lot of loadout.
It's the same as a build your own Vader.
Yeah, and not surprising, Han performing just incredibly well.
Yeah.
Getting to the point where it's almost a sure thing that you'll see multiple Hans top tables in Swiss all the way into top cut the next day.
I was going to say, it looks like I'm seeing lots of Rebel, lots of Resistance, and lots of Republic as well. But this is the first major tournament I feel where Resistance is really rising.
Several Resistance lists, yeah.
Yeah, and really becoming prominent in the meta. I think that's a pretty good call, seeing that Republic and the Rebellion are the factions that we're seeing the most. I think Resistance is in a great spot to counter that too, which is a lot of what we saw that weekend, if you're just looking at like the list breakdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think instead of just reading off lists, I do want to read off Michael Simon's list, and then we can talk about some others that I noticed. But we don't have to go one by one and read off all these lists, because some of them are they do feel very samey after a little while.
But
I'm
honestly,
gonna find Michael's really quick.
If you go back to episode 1, or honestly, or the last episode too, you're gonna see a lot of the same list. I think last episode when we were going over Golden State games, there's a little more FO and not seeing too much First Order here at the Crossroads.
Manny, do you have it pulled up?
Yeah,
cut?
I believe I do. Yes.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna throw this over to you because it's a Resistance player who won the whole thing, which is kind of just surprise. It surprised me. It was like, oh my gosh, there's this Resistance list just pounding through the cut. Go ahead and break it down for us.
Yeah, so we have Poe Dameron in the T-70, plastic torpedoes, integrated S-foils, R2-D2, there's Sphere of Paint, marksmanship, and crackshot. It's a bit of a unique build. Then there's Eloancy with a jamming beam, integrated S-foils, predator, and crackshot. Next is Temmin Wexley, jamming beam, integrated S-foils, R68 with crackshot as well. Jessica Pava, electronic baffle, M9G8, and last but not least, BB-8 and with crew Chewbacca. So 4 T-70s and a transport pod.
Yeah.
Such a simple list, like 4 T-70s in a pod, and in the hands of a great player capable of doing some winning work, to say the least.
And I was gonna say, like, I feel like there's a lot of skill flying there when you're going with the 4 T70s like that, especially with Poe Dameron and
Yeah,
picking
Commander
those.
Poe, by the way, not Trigger
Yes.
Happy Flyboy
Oh,
Poe.
all right. I thought it was Sugar Happy Flyboy. No, it's
Yeah,
Command.
6-point
Okay.
Poe with the 2 charges. He can give himself or friendlies a red action every other turn.
So a lot of
Interesting.
yeah, I mean, it's a lot of that coordinating
Hmm.
with this list as well.
Yep.
So I can definitely see how that'd be lethal, especially in the meta where there's a lot of big ships in every red die getting paint on those count.
Yeah, absolutely. Joshua Richardson, who played on our stream 3 times over the course of those 2 days, he was a runner-up playing in Final Table with his Rebel list, 4-ship
Mhm.
Rebel list. Andrew, do you wanna maybe just do a quick rundown
Yeah,
of that list?
this is the classic version of the Han Solo. I think it's the one that we're seeing appear more, and it's Han Solo with engine upgrade, Bistion, Chopper, Perceptive Copilot, Luke Skywalker,
In
which
title,
is
yeah.
yeah the Battle of Yavin, Keo Venzi with Juke, and Fen Rao with Beskar reinforced plating, Predator, and Crackshot. So this is the one that counters, in my mind, the Sabine, Wedge, Keo versions.
Keo had Lone Wolf and concussion missiles, not Juke.
Oh,
In the yeah, he
okay.
might
Oh,
be. I have cut pulled up
I
right now. It
yeah
might
yeah.
be.
Yeah. So it's funny. There's two lists. They're both Han Solo ones together. Yeah, I see.
Mhm.
Lone Wolf and Couch Missions, which I think is a better build for it.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
Crispy has said on our one of our
yeah,
previous episodes.
because you're better off just having it, yeah, fly separate, get
Right.
objectives, that lone wolf, and you'd rather be taking the focus to be a little more punchy than having to take that evade.
Yeah.
So I do
Um,
like it better there.
for sure. And I'm just gonna shout out Zach Matthews. He went undefeated at Swiss, played a Rebel list with Han as well, but he brought Keo with Prockets and Wedge Sabine. Wedge had marksmanship and crackshot. Sabine had Beskar. So
Yep.
well done, Zach. Congrats on your world's invite. Very cool.
Yeah.
And then back to back, Velvet Buddha and our Stan. Velvet Buddha's Andrew Block. Our Stan is Ryan Staniszewski. Don't have to worry about me doxing them. They both played on stream with their full names. So
Yep.
can't say I doxed them. I didn't do it. Didn't do nothing.
The classic
And
Empire v
They dox
Empire matchup.
themselves.
Empire v Empire is the overlap between the two lists. There's Tomax Bren with the new standardized Tomax Bren. He's got the plasma torps. He's got the ion bombs. He's got true grit. He's got a great ability being able to every other turn
Yeah.
acquire a focus token after doing a barrel roll for double botted plasmas. Buddha had Lieutenant Laurier with Lone Wolf and Target Computer,
But
um,
also the new Deathfire,
and also the new Deathfire.
which is
Whereas,
one of my
yeah,
favorite. Yeah. You go when you complete a speed 3 to 5 maneuver, you can launch a bomb.
yeah, exactly. And then Merrick Steele and Buddha's list versus Ryan Staniszewski's Volt
Mhm.
Scarus in his list
Yes.
next to the big boy Rear
Yeah,
Admiral
with
Chirnu.
that ruthless and proton rockets. So taking advantage of that missile slot, which you don't see that often. It's a very
Yeah.
unique build for Merrick, but you're
And
guaranteeing that
marksmanship
crit,
too, yeah.
and when you get to pick it, yeah, that's lethal
Yeah.
with the lock.
Yeah, he doesn't usually so with the Procket, he's focusing more often, which he can be more flexible with for defense if he
Also,
needs to keep it.
bumps not as big a deal
No, certainly not.
if you can bump
I play
through
on the edge
people.
with my version of Merrick for sure.
hmm
Yeah.
So it
But yeah,
doesn't feel as
so
bad when you have to take that focus. Yeah.
yep. So Buddha and Ryan both they played each other in top 8, and it really came down to road being a pretty big deal because of all the initiative overlap and just
Yep.
almost the same pilots.
Yeah.
Um, but I just want to quickly talk about Rear Admiral Chirnu and the
hmm
Decimator. Uh, really, really strong part of an Imperial list, especially with Darth Vader and Death Troopers. That
Yeah.
combination is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. It's scary.
It is very scary. For those of you who maybe don't know or newer to the game or just forgot, Darth Vader, he gives you that force. He's pretty expensive. I think he's 14 points
hmm
crew that you can throw on the Decimator, and at range 0 to 2 start of engagement, you can choose an enemy ship in your firing arc at range 0 to 2. Spend a force, and they either must remove a green token or suffer 1 damage. And guess what? If they don't have a green token, they
They're
just take
taking it.
damage.
Yep.
Very, very good. It's a great end game threat, and
Hmm.
it pulls away mods from people all the time.
But also with Death Troopers, if you're at range 0 to 1 of the decimator, you don't remove
Yeah,
stress at the end of your activation or at the end of your yeah
maneuver. Yeah,
maneuver.
yeah. Hey, Manny, have you had to deal with Death Troopers or Vader at all? Have you had any
Not
run-ins?
not at all. It's all new to me.
Yeah, get
But
ready because it
I
seems
can
to
see
be the
it. It's
new.
like, hey, you can't take a green token. Well, guess who took the damage? The
Yeah,
illusion of choice.
yeah. I think we're gonna start to see Rear Admiral Cheernu a lot more, as I think there's kind of
Yeah.
rumblings around him being a very meta viable piece, which I'm excited about because I think that's good. I think Empire is one of the more fleshed out factions right now when it comes to variety versus
Yeah.
say Rebels and Republic. So that's
Yeah,
cool.
'cause there are options because right, if you're not taking Vader in the ship, this is a absolutely alternate viable list that you can have.
Yeah. Looking at our cut here as well. I'm gonna just scroll down a little bit. I'm going through our top 8 here. How many triple arcs did we have in the cut?
It
None.
looks. Oh yeah,
No triple arc 170s. We had list with 2 Arc 170s. That's Will Scott, my boy, Scooter, with Oddball and Wolf in his list, but triple arcs shut out of the cut,
I was
and
to
I
say
absolutely love to see it.
it looks like there might have been whoever got rank 2 would have had triple arcs, but they didn't play in cut.
Somebody did have to drop. I think that might have been
Hmm.
that person.
Yeah,
However, the participating cut, yeah, we didn't get triple arc 170s.
yeah,
Although I will say, if you go and look over at the entire event, there were a lot of people that brought them. There were
yes.
plenty of those lists out there. Just
Yeah, and
very interesting.
this is why I'm not surprised to be seeing more resistance coming in, because that was one of the choices that I made going into Gen Con 2 with this list, and resistance is in a spot right now where I feel that they can beat Han and they can beat the triple arc list pretty easily. And
Yeah.
even when I was at Gen Con, every time that I went up against a Han list, every time I went up against Republic list, I won.
Yeah, it's Republic lists are they have those Arc 170s have their they have their weaknesses.
Hmm.
And so it's just I'm not trying to I say it's good that they make I just it's just nice to see that maybe people are solving it a little bit.
I think that's
Um
what's happening. I think
yeah,
what's happening is that people are playing against the arc lists and against the Han Solo
yeah,
lists so much that they're figuring them out.
yeah.
And
Although Han seems to still
I was
be
gonna say
finding
it's
his way.
really, man, it seems like Han is still
Yeah.
the meta piece right now.
Yeah,
Well,
you
he
should
counts
watch
as two
back some
ship
of our games.
basically.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly, and he's especially with the games we had on stream, he's just rolling paint the entire time and rolling multiple crits, and just the
It's just,
RNG of it
man,
all is
yeah, that's gonna
yeah.
be so hard to come back from. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
and
mean,
that's
it's
what it is.
like in this game, in the game of X-wing, in almost every other case, you have if there are two ships in front of you at two hull, you got to pick one to shoot at. The other one gets away because you didn't shoot
Mhm.
at it. Han's like, cool, I'll just kill both.
Yeah.
So
Borganolas
it's
plus.
yeah, just really good. Last shout out before we move on from Crossroads, just Alex Merrill sneaking in at the number 9 to roll up to number 8 spot at cut with Scum, Lima Kai with
Yeah.
R4B11, Plasma Torpedoes, Cad Bane with the Lats, Rozzies, Andu Blood, Contraband, Cybernetics, Proton Cannons, Marksmanship, Bosk with Expert Handling, Marksmanship, Dr. Afra, who seems to
I'm
be a really big part of Scum builds right now. Pretty
I am
good.
so excited to see Dr. Afra in making top in tournaments. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, hopefully
Big
maybe a little
fan.
bit more. She's starting to show up a little bit in tournaments in terms of cut. Think if there is a scum list that somehow makes cut, there's a chance that she's in it.
Hmm.
Or Fen Rao. In this case, Fen Rao wasn't in this list, but Fen Rao is popular in scum.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Afra had the Houndstooth title, Dead Man Switch, Babu Frick, Dangar, 000, and Lando Crew. For those of you that don't know, that Lando crew doesn't specify what type, like what instance you're rolling your dice, so you can spend green tokens to re-roll the Dengar Gunner die when people shoot at you. You'd be like, cool, I'm gonna
Oh,
Dengar you, and
oh,
then
that's
yeah.
nasty.
So with 000, you get the calculator. Great, I'll spend the calculate. You didn't want to spend you didn't have a green token, so I'm rolling the die. I rolled an eyeball. Cool, spend a calculate, re-roll into a hit. You suffer a damage.
Wow.
So lots of shenanigans, and then Manaroo with R5P8 punishing one title, contraband, cybernetics, Gar Saxon, which Gar Saxon, you can spend a red or orange token on the enemy you're shooting at to roll an additional die.
Yeah.
That includes your own target locks that you have on them, or their stress, or their jams, or whatever, depletes, whatever it is.
Any
An expert
red,
handle.
yeah. That's so good.
Yeah. So the power potential and the shenanigans that he's able to do with Afra and Manaroo alone, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Alex just had a couple of rough games on our stream. I felt bad. He's like, "Don't worry, you
Oh,
don't have to
man.
play on our stream ever again." He just got diced pretty hard. But yeah, so shout out to Alex from the Bespin Benchwarmers.
Man, I was gonna say that's also a chunky list to get through too.
It
Like
is, yeah,
that's the same thing as like that double decimator. It's just there's so much hull just to chew through in that limited time that you have.
yeah. It is a lot. I
I like
think
the scum list a lot.
Lee Mackay can do a lot of work. R4 B11, you basically force your opponent to re-roll their defense dice, which is also pretty good.
It's like a bomber. It's like
Like
the
salvo, sat
yeah.
salvo, yeah.
It's like Sat Salvo.
Indeed. Any other impressions from just what you've seen, overall from this tournament?
Yeah, I was gonna say it was fun watching the streams. I came in on that last day and was surprised to not see Darth Vader in the top cut. That was kind of a big one for me
Yeah, Vader
on
Crew
that
made his
takeaway.
way in the cut, but very different version.
Also, almost no separatist.
Yeah,
There's two
almost no first
separatist
order.
lists
Yeah,
and
two
no
first
first.
order.
No, there's first order.
Yeah, no, two,
But
two
not
first order.
not at the top. But yeah, that's kind of a little disappointing. I hope that we see some big changes with the separatist faction
Manny, are
at
you
some point.
inspired by Resistance winning a 48 player event? Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. I had no idea, I had no idea that there was that many people. But yeah, no, I'm happy for the faction. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you heard it here first. Manny he's absolutely thrilled. He's jumping up and down. We need to strap him into his chair.
I was he
Calm
said
down, buddy.
yeah, no, he thinks it's inevitable. It's like of course.
Yeah. BB8 Pod doing some work. Doing some work.
Well,
Cool.
I
Well,
mean,
again,
those pods will just live forever.
yeah,
That's
yeah, and then
what's
Well,
that's
he's
what's great
probably not gonna
about
go
the
after them.
2 points
What,
for
only 2
BB8.
points?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's
All
still
right.
good. No, yeah,
Yeah. Let's move on to probably my favorite segment. I know, Andrew, you like it a lot too. It's fun. Let's break it or buy it, baby.
all
Gauntlet
right.
style. We're talking about the Gauntlet. Who? The what? The Gauntlet. We've
Yeah,
got
it's
3 pilots picked for this one.
yep, and it's only been out for about maybe is it 2 years now or
I think only a year.
only a year?
Year.
Yeah,
No, wait.
we're
It came out around the
Yeah.
time that I
Last
met you, Nick.
Adepticon.
So
Yeah, it was
March
at
of
the
last
last
year. Yeah.
Adepticon last year. Yeah, well, over a year now. Yeah. Does that mean we have a friend anniversary? Yeah, we
Oh
missed
no,
a
it's already
friend
passed.
anniversary,
Yes, we
bro.
did. Yes, we did.
Damn,
You
hell
can
yeah,
go
we
back to
missed
our
it.
Facebook messages and like find the exact date.
I don't want to go through our Facebook.
No, I
messages.
don't.
That's a bad idea. A lot of it's like probably 12 felonies committed in that.
It's like, oh god, if this ever reaches the public eye.
Yeah, I mean, a good thing we're doing it on a public podcast, talking about it. All right, so I picked 3 guys: Maul, Captain Hark, and Bo-Katan Kryze. Andrew, why don't you explain how Break It or Buy It works?
sure. So break it or buy it is we try to pick some ships that aren't being flown that much in the game, and we either break it where we say, okay, it's okay at its current cost, but maybe we change the loadout, maybe we give it more loadout, or we give it different slots, or we decide if we're going to buy it, which means that we will take it at its current value, but if it was only like a couple points less, or if we think it should be more for some reason.
Yep.
But
Yep.
but with extra stuff. So that is the rules for Break It or Buy It. Manny, do you want to kick it off with Darth Maul?
Yeah, Darth Maul and
Scum.
Gauntlet for the Scum faction. Should I just go over the
Yeah, why don't
entire
you
card or like
go
impact?
over every let's go over the stat line first. So break down what its stat line is and what its dial is, what its
All right.
actions are, and then you can go on into Maul specific.
Yeah.
All right, so it shoots 3 attack dice, three in the front, 2 out the back. Rolls 2, evades, 9 hull, 2 shields, and he has 3 force.
Maul
Actions.
specifically, yep.
Yes. Action is a focus, a red reinforce, a target lock, and a red coordinate. Should I also go over like the upgrades, like the
The
categories,
slots.
or just the slots?
Don't worry about the slots
Yeah,
until we
alright.
talk about breaking it or buying it. I
Cool.
think.
So the so the ability is, while you perform a coordinated action, if you choose a ship with an initiative lower than yours, you may spend 1 force. If you do, treat the action as white, and you may coordinate 1 additional friendly ship with an initiative lower than yours. Each friendly ship you coordinate this way gains 1 strain token.
Jeez, I don't
Must
need a
have like one of those
dissertation, bro.
stronger effects, like
I don't
in the
need a
entire game, I
dissertation.
think. But yeah,
yeah, that's a manifesto of an ability for sure.
A lot of
he's
conditions. Yeah.
I5, a large base, because it's a gauntlet. 8 points as a cost, and he has
Yep.
13 points of loadout in total.
15. Yeah, 15. I'll jump in really quick just for the dial side of things. The gauntlets have 0 stop. It's red. 1 banks are blue. No 1 straight or 1 hard. 2 hards are white. 2 bank blue. 2 straight blue. And 3 hard red. 3 bank whites. 3 straight white. And then a 4 straight that is white. That is no 1 straight on that thing.
But it's got the swivel wing,
interesting.
which
Yeah, it can pivot
when you
around.
execute a 0 stop, you can choose to move 90 degrees or 180.
Yep.
But you roll
subtract
1
agility.
fewer 1 fewer defense die agility for that.
Yeah. So all right. So Manny, you play with a local who loves Maul. Shout out to Lloyd.
Loves to play the gauntlet.
Loves
To fly
Maul. He's got a cool custom painted gauntlet. He loves Maul. Maul was put in the absolute doghouse at 9 points for a while. He was 8 when he first came out, and then they made him 9.
So he was at 8 first with like 26 loadout, or with like pretty high amount of loadout. And then he got jumped up to 9 with a
less
reduction loadout. Yes. Which is like what exactly did he do to like
that's what we should be talking about, is what did he do? Because honestly, he didn't really do anything.
Yeah. Everyone was putting Maul crew on Ezra in Rebel.
Well, I mean, that's a different faction. Like, if you're building
No, I know.
Scum.
I mean, that was where Maul was in the gauntlet was like relevant.
Yeah,
like,
if you were seeing Maul, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, Manny, would you break it or buy it here with Maul?
I mean, I don't know. I don't play Scum at all, so I mean, I5, 8 points. I mean,
15 loadout.
I have to compare him with like the other ships from like Rebels, Empire. Like,
no, don't do it.
Right?
Don't do it.
You compare it with Han.
1 point less, 5 more loadout. Ray, 1 point less, 5 more
I would
loadout.
say break him. I'm not gonna buy him. I think I would need to break him in order to justify taking him.
All right, what are you breaking?
Okay. So if Han is 7, he could go down to 7. I don't know if
you're gonna buy it. You're gonna.
Well, I think I
What's
think
up?
he's going to completely break multiple things here. I think
Yeah.
he might
Oh
Okay.
be
wait,
talking about cost and then more than just that.
Sure.
yeah.
Would you change anything else? Because if you don't, then you are buying it at 7. If you are going to change anything else, then you are technically still breaking it. If would you change anything else?
Gotcha. In that case,
Loadout.
no.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think he's at 7 points with his force. You have to be careful of that. If he is going to be
Mhm.
7 points with that force, then yeah, his loadout should be less than the other 7 pointers for sure.
Well, mm,
I know, like, is there a combination in Scum that can like really make use of this, or like some pieces that can really synergize with his ability?
I mean, you can give some double mods with your coordinates to a couple lower initiative ships,
All right, but
yeah,
that's
I mean
basically it, right?
that's what you would do.
Okay.
and
I
then
mean,
each friendly ship
that's
that
what you
gains
would
strains.
hope, but I mean, what lower initiative ships
Are you
are
taking?
you really trying to reinforce with?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scum isn't Scum. I think Scum could really use a star player kind of jumping into the ring like this.
Mhm.
There isn't any obvious choices. F Scum Fen Rao. Here's the issue with Scum. I mean, there's many, but one of them is like, okay, cool. I have Scum Fen Rao 6 points now. Do I feel confident with my options to build 14 points around him?
Mhm.
And usually your options are like weird, like costs, like odd numbers, and they don't add up to 20. They add up to 19 or 21. And that's difficult. So I don't think him going down would necessarily all of a sudden make the faction just way better. I
Yeah.
think maybe people just consider it. They don't even necessarily play him still automatically.
So, and you can compare it to like a fire spray, right? Because like a fire spray is also there's 7 points except for Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Then the fire spray chassis just ability, it's one less like hull point. So instead of the 9-2 stat line, you have 6 hull, 4 shield, 3 out the front, 3 out the back, still 2 agility.
Yeah. Medium base can
Mid,
white boost.
yeah,
Yeah, the four shields is one of the biggest selling points for a fire spray
huge, right?
of the
Yep.
And
many.
it's like because the problem with the gauntlet is that they can, even with the force, I mean they can
Yeah, crit
get
sponge.
destroyed pretty quick.
Crit sponge.
Yeah, crits are going to be an issue there.
Yeah.
So it's like, at what point does Maul become more attractive than taking that fire spray?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I think the gauntlet is just really awkward in the game. It just is.
Yeah.
It's also not to mention like how it's a dope ship. Don't get me wrong. It looks great on a table, but it is an inconvenience to play with,
It can be.
especially to
Yeah.
have on stream.
Yeah, the peg is pretty bad.
Well, it just takes you just covers everything and it's just in the
That's also
way.
true.
It's just like it
Like,
is what it is.
it's like there's
Very
3 to 4 ships hiding underneath those wings.
it's a very cool ship.
It is. And that's without, with me qualifying, like it is cool.
Yeah.
And I am proud of I have mine right next to me right now, like the one I painted like Knight Brother style, like Ezra for Ezra or whatever. But yeah, it's
Oh,
just
that's awesome.
it's a little loose on the peg and it's a little big
Yeah.
and
So if Maul was 1 point less, you could take Maul with Amon and Dr. Afra.
yeah, I mean the three ship scum list, like your hope is that your opponent dies and doesn't play the objective
And that you never
enough.
play salvage. Yeah,
Yeah, and
exactly.
you never play salve. You only play assault. Chance engagement is hard for those lists.
Yeah.
Scramble is hard because you're low initiative. Like your opponent just has more flexibility than you when you build lists like
I
that.
mean, even if you don't want to go, I mean, you could go Cad Bane and then Bosk. And now you got 4 ships.
I mean, if Maul is 7, then Lee Mackay makes it 10, and then Dirge
Yeah.
makes it 14. That's 3 ships, and then you could do you could
And
do
then
Fen Rao to make it 20, or you could do Boss that makes it 16, and then
Bosk and
you could do a
yeah.
5 ship or 4 ship list
So you do
basically with.
Bosk, Cad, Dirge, Lee Mackay, Maul. Is that OP?
Sorry, Bosk is 7-9, Cad 13, Dirge 17, and Lee Mackay. No, it's not. Bosk isn't really a ship. Like to me, I mean, Bosk is probably the lamest of the 2-point options right now, although his ability can be really good.
Yeah, I
He
think
doesn't
Bosk
he's
is a
not
player.
Slider, Sabine. He's just not fun. He's just kind of there. And
Oh,
Z95 just isn't a
Bosk
very
is fun.
fun Z95. I don't know. Nobody really talks about Bosk and like they say, hey, like maybe he's able to split a crit. He gets ignored or he just gets punished immediately and dies immediately. But
Yes.
he's cheap for a reason. The
Yeah.
Z95 chassis, unless you're the Republic Z95 like Slider, it's
I
just
think
not a very great
sh-
chassis.
sure, but I mean, like for Scum, I think it's a very decent 2-point ship.
He's there.
Yeah,
I mean he's the 2-point option.
he's a distraction
I th
or could be
yeah.
a threat though.
Yeah,
Brad will
with
only like.
marksmanship, he could, yeah. Yeah, I mean, most scum players could care less when he dies.
Right. Yeah,
Same with Sabine.
but
I think Sabine, same way for goes for Slide or any of the 2-pointers. I mean,
yeah,
they're cheap for a reason.
they're the objective ships, or if they can stick around, they'll get there. But yeah, I think if Maul goes down to 7, I don't think you need to change the loadout, and I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think maybe even like yeah, if you change the loadout, you could do 14 points, just one less.
If he
Just
goes
it's
down to
or
6, is that a bridge too far? Is
yeah,
that a
yeah,
I think
that's
must
way
6
too
play
might be
far.
card?
a bridge too far. Yeah,
Yeah, 6 is a weird
because
statement.
then
Now
you might need to
you
drop like the
have
other
to put it in?
gauntlets.
Well, no, there shouldn't be any large base with that much health that high initiative with a coordinating ability with 3 force at 6 points.
That's also true.
There's just like a lot of there at six
Yeah.
points. Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, reinforce with force, that
reinforce as
does.
well.
Yeah,
Coordinating multiple coordinates.
that
Yeah,
does make you. Yeah,
not
that
to
makes you
mention
like
the loadout
pretty
you'll have.
unkillable. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you're putting them up against like sure there are 6 point options like Chopper's 6 points, Afra 6 points, but they belong at 6. I think Maul
Mhm.
belongs it would actually belong at 7, and I
Yeah.
think he's just been doghoused for almost no reason.
Yeah,
Really bizarre. It's weird.
I think it would be okay
Yeah,
at 7 though. I think it
I mean,
would
can we
be,
talk about how
especially in
weird
this
it is
meta.
that he was put in the doghouse when a product they need to sell? Like, it's like a newer product.
yeah.
It's like really expensive to produce that like
That's
they
what
aren't selling as
it
many of.
I don't know. It's making me think that like
Like they
there's
found some
something
like
that we don't
stupid
know.
combination.
Yeah, like that maybe we haven't even thought about yet that would make it completely broken.
But what in
Yeah,
Scum is has the potential of being
but
that broken, right?
I don't. Well, I mean, you'd be surprised. Scum can do a lot of weird things. Like, it's
Yeah.
just like,
Well, and the problem with Scum is that their individual pieces can be so good. Like
yeah,
if Boba Fett was
it's a bunch of lone
8
wolves.
points or 7 points, that becomes a problem.
Yeah. I mean, it's people quit the game over stuff like that, and
Right.
it's just that bad.
I think Scum is probably one of the hardest factions to balance because of that, because their whole faction identity is that like
Yep.
individually they're so strong.
Yeah, it's a very 2.0 e faction
Right.
in my eyes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think we agree on
Or we could just say that AMG just hates Scum, and that's why.
I don't
I
think
mean,
they hate
I think I've reached the point where I think AMG doesn't particularly care that much about scum. I think they're like, yeah, they're there and we'll change some things. I mean,
It's
They changed
I
Fenanol T and a few other
yeah,
pieces.
I think they're
So
making efforts on it too, and I think that it is a faction
it's
that
just not enough.
if you push it a little too hard, yeah, I think that there's some other options that they can open up for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's also a faction that if you push it too hard, the other way, that it can get
There-
really broken very
There's
fast.
also too many scum ships that are extended only. That
Yeah,
I think the
that's a
faction could
really
use a
big.
Star Viper or something. They
Yes.
don't. There's so many extended scum ships. You know
Yeah. So
that
hopefully when those
won't be
come back,
reprinted.
that'll help too.
I mean, I
if they
think
come
we're in
back.
the holding pattern for all reprints right now.
Yeah.
We haven't heard anything about the gunboat. Hopefully soon we do because they did spoil that as the upcoming release.
They did, yeah.
Well,
Ju-
hopefully we haven't
yeah.
heard anything about it in a long time, but hopefully we do soon.
Just a
Um,
side note. Apparently, like all of Legion is gonna get like reprinted in higher quality plastics. So does that mean that
Wow.
X-Wing's gonna be next? Probably not.
oh,
But I mean,
I don't
it's nice
know.
to
That'd be
hope.
cool.
that seems to be well, sure. I mean, I would like that, but if that's where the money's going, I'm alarmed. If that's where they're putting their resources into, like for the game, it's like
But
no, please
I think
invest in
Legion is like the one
releases
lifeline that
and
AMG has right now.
I mean, I think that the plastics are pretty high quality on X-wing ships already,
Oh yeah, exactly.
so I
It
don't think
just
it
seems so
needs that
unnecessary.
help. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's
Oh
good. Good that they're not rotating. Like it's nice to hear that it's not Shatterpoint, so that gives me hope.
yeah. 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 It's funny as soon as we're doing this recording right now, Joe Churchman comments in our in our podcast chat. Thanks for the shout out from our last episode from Golden State Games. It's funny. You're
Oh,
welcome,
nice.
Joe. If you're listening to this one, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Um, can I do
So
Captain
okay,
Hark or do you
yes, I
want to
was
do Bo
gonna. No,
Katan?
yeah, I'm down to do Bo Katan.
Cool.
Big
All right,
fan of
so
Bo
I'll
Katan.
do
So if you
Captain
want to take
Hark.
Hark,
Yes, the Empire has a gauntlet. Did you know that? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Captain Hark is a 6-point option in Empire. He's initiative 3, and he's got 14 loadout. So after you reveal his ability, after you reveal a zero-stop maneuver, if you are equipped with swivel wings down, you may execute a 1 bank or or 1 left or right side slip with the 1 bank template of the same difficulty instead. So you can do basically a 1 side slip as a red maneuver instead of stopping, and then you must and then after you execute the maneuver, you must flip the swivel wings down. So I guess you could technically do it with the swivel wings up or down. I think you can because it says
yes,
if you're equipped with swivel wings down. Yep. Um, a side slipping gauntlet when this was spoiled, everyone's like, "This is gonna be so silly and fun and cool," and I'm super excited about it. And I just think that momentum just kind of got lost. I think he started off too pricey, and now he's at a place where he probably belongs, but
yeah,
he's still kind of left behind because that faction has a lot of other choices for half the price. You can multiply ships for similar value. So
hmm
let me see. Let me think. 6 points, 14 loadout. I'm going to break Captain Hark. I'm going to keep him at 6 points, but I'm going to give him, you know what? I'm going to give him 20 loadout. Yeah, I said it. He only has a talent, gunner, illicit, mod, payload, and crew. 1 crew slot, not 2.
See, I would give him an extra crew slot too.
I think if he has 20 loadout, giving 2 crew could be too much, but
Mm,
um, and on staying on the line of breaking it, maybe I would remove his illicit slot, just so he's can't, I think false transponder codes is always an more obvious one. Overtune modulators, contraband. Contraband's good. I don't even
Contraband's
know if
good.
he really deserves to lose his illicit, but yeah, I would. Yes, why not? Let's make. You got Rack and all the other decimators at 7 with 20 loadout. Let's give you a 6-point gauntlet for this. I am saying this as if I were somebody at Atomic Mass Games. It's like, guys, we gotta sell the gauntlet. We gotta sell the gauntlet. So we're making Captain Hark 6 points, and we're giving him 20 loadout. Let's get people into flying the all these other gauntlet pilots that we barely remember, like Captain Hark. So I'm breaking it, and I'm giving him 20 loadout. Same
I think that'd be
cost.
cool.
Thoughts, opinions.
I think give him the extra crew slot. Um, I think with his ability, if you can put Vader and ISB Jammer on him, or ISB, or no, I mean Death Troopers. You can put Vader and Death Troopers on him with his side slip ability. Now that's something you can
It's
move
fun.
into position to use that to put him in somewhere funky where when he does that zero stop maneuver, who knows where he's going to be. And that could give you some really cool options. I think still makes it playable. Like it's still, I guess some people would say could be a negative play experience. I think that actually makes it exciting for both
Yeah.
people.
I mean,
Um,
yeah.
Also, this is a ship. I mean, unlike Decimators, this is another ship that it doesn't stick around the board for that much longer. Even when it does that zero stop maneuver, it's only rolling that one. Um, it doesn't have like that rotating arc that the Decimator has as well. And this also the Decimator has that one forward you can control where it moves. Gauntlets move fast
And it
and
has
they move
Dauntless.
everywhere, and it has
And
Dauntless, which is
Dauntless. And
huge as
Dauntless.
well, which
Yeah.
they don't. Cool thing about Captain Hark is that Hark can take Beskar, like can take Mandalorian upgrades as well.
Yeah, he is a
That's
Mandalorian.
kind of neat. Yeah.
Good point, Andrew, for sure.
So you get access to the Mandalorian optics and like Beskar reinforced plating, um, all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
do at 5 points if you take the drop seat bay. That gives access to an extra crew slot, so you can take the
Yeah.
Mandalorians, but then you lose access to like taking
Yeah, the
anything like
points to
Vader.
take other thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
anything else. Yeah. So yeah, that's Captain Hark. I think we all kind of Manny. Anything about Harky Boy?
I mean, I don't know that much to really say something substantial, so I'm good.
Okay. All right. All right, Andrew. We're doing Bo-Katan Kryze. Which
Yes,
one?
we are going to be doing the Separatist version of Bo-Katan Kryze. This is one that I think on the Separatist side, or between Republic and Separatist, because she can be in both. I think I've seen more Separatist versions on the table, so I think this is an easier one to bump up into relevance, especially in a faction that just needs more help. And we got Bo-Katan Kryze at 6 points with 12 loadout. And her pilot ability is before a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 activates, you may spend 1 charge. She has 1 reoccurring charge. If you do, that ship may gain 1 strain token to remove 1 non-stress red or orange token. So this helps at the start of activation if there's a target lock on another ship, if there is an ion. She's I4.
Yeah.
So if she sticks around close, she can do this ability before friendly ships activate if they have an ion on them for some reason, if they have a deplete or anything like that as well. If they're not going to do a blue maneuver, I think you're going to probably see this more for like target locks.
It's interesting. Yeah, they
Yeah,
have to gain a strain, which could be
they do gain
scary.
strain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
this
for
is
sure.
in Separatist. This is going to be on more of your like offense forward ships, because they do want to roll those 3 dice. But even like I don't know, Droid Tie Fighter, where they're throwing like 3 reds, they only got that 3 hull though, so losing that extra die can be a bummer. It's not maybe. Yeah, even with the Vulture class droid, this is a ship that doesn't really want to take strains too much.
Well, it's before you activate, right? So could you just like plan out a blue move, then activate the ability, and then you do the blue move to take away the strain?
Which I mean, yeah, that's great too.
Good point. That's a really good point. Yeah.
So it's not as much of a drawback
As it
as
might
even we
seem.
initially thought. Yeah. I
12
think
loadout, man.
12. I mean, this is where I think I'm going to break this as well. Um, I think I'd be okay bumping this up to. I mean, maybe even 20.
Yeah, I feel like Separatists can't abuse loadout as much unless you're Django or Zam. I feel like
Yeah,
having a lot of loadout doesn't really equate to like being able to like oppress. Unless you're
yeah.
Savage oppressing. Ha ha ha. I don't think anything else is yet to really. I think
You
that's a
got
huge worry.
you got some cool crew that you can take though. Like you can even
Hmm.
put like Hondo on there.
But not like
Uh
anything as terrifying as Vader, right? Or
No,
Palpatine, or
I
yeah.
was like Zam. Zam is probably the like one of the big ones that you want to put on there.
Zam on Bo-Katan would be really cool.
That would be cool.
That would be pretty menacing, but not
I
too
think
bad.
yeah, and I mean because right now Zam is 11 points, so at 12
Yeah.
loadout, that's it. You just take it's her in that. Um, take the title, the Gauntlet upgrade, get an extra crew, so she has that. She can also once again is a Mandalorian, can take the Mandalorian upgrades as well. So I think I would be okay. I mean, even with Zam going up to like 20. Um, and then that even gives you access to, if you wanted to, the drop seat bay. You can do Zam. You can do something cool with the Mandalorian troopers as well. Which one are they in
Hmm.
this one? The Death Watch Commandos. They're 8 points.
Yeah. Wow.
So with the drop, if you take the drop seat bay, you can't take the Death Watch Commandos,
Oh wow, that's
which is
that kind of breaks
weird.
the gimmick. That kind of
Yeah,
breaks the
doesn't it? Because
thing.
it's like the whole point of taking the drop seat bay is so you could take the Death Watch
Yeah.
What are
Commandos.
you drop seating otherwise?
Yeah,
Exactly right.
exactly.
Exactly.
Granted,
That's
they
so
are
funny.
extremely annoying to go up against. Not because they're like
Sorry,
extremely good.
Commanders.
No, it's because
Yeah.
they're very annoying to move around,
I know, it
especially when
overlap.
like they had to go
Oh,
under ships. It's just
It's so
It takes
annoying.
way too much time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no offense to you Commando players out there, but you are slightly more hated than anybody else when you drop those things.
I keep wanting to bring them. I keep bringing them because they are. It seems so cool. I love the idea of it.
It just adds a lot of aches, I
It
think, for
really
everybody
does.
involved.
Just a moving bond.
Especially
Yeah.
if like your planet gets like if your planet gets like the clock, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
move this commander token under like 3 ships.
Are you sure you
Ah!
want to do that? Even the person that is
Sure.
doing it is like, do I really want to do this?
You
At
know,
that point, it's less about winning, more about just making your opponent's life hell.
I will
Yeah.
say no. I don't. I think that there's a strategy. If you are the Gauntlet player, the longer that like the rounds go, the more likely your ship is to be destroyed. So it- based on the game state, like in a not cheating way, this is a way to maybe extend some time on your side.
Oh, I don't know.
Where
That's a
you're playing
slippery
I
slope.
mean,
That's a
playing a
fucking
sure, it's
5-hour
not
slippery
game.
slope.
cheating, but it's like pretty
I'm not
dirty.
saying it's a good idea, and you shouldn't take it because of that. That's wrong. That's not good.
This is gonna be all over
Yeah.
Twitter or
Oh,
X or whatever
yeah,
you call it.
of-
Z, Y, theta, beta. Yeah.
Plus, they
yeah.
only shoot twice, so it's like it's not like they do anything like
It's just the
substantial after
movement
like the
stuff.
second
Yeah.
round. Yeah.
And they're
Can't- well,
chonky.
they give
like,
strains.
if you finish overlapping them, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Or they move
it's,
into you and overlap
it's not
you.
bad. Yeah, I still think that
That's not what we're saying. It's just
it's cool to take.
it's
them.
a lot of
It's neat.
things to
It is.
be doing in a game around.
I'm definitely more of a thematic player, so I love the idea of dropping commandos when I play things like the Gauntlet. That's an aspect of the game that I really like. I think it's a cool idea, but yeah, it can be annoying for sure. It's if you ever deal with like dropping a bomb on top of a ship or anything like that too.
Well, that's
Yeah, I
fine
mean,
because it's like
yeah.
it's only one round, right?
Yeah. Cool. Anything else about Bo before we move on to our audience topic?
But yeah, well, I was just gonna say with Bo, yeah, I think you can. I think the points are fine at 6. You go up to 20, and we should probably just do an episode on what we think we could do just to make the separatist faction playable, and not in a way where you're taking Sunfac and Grievous
Back
again.
to the
Like,
roots, yeah. Back to the
Yeah.
swarmy
Yeah, like,
roots that is
Right.
separatist.
Get like to the droids.
Mhm.
Yep, wouldn't that be great? Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Clones are going back to the roots of clones, lots of clones. Our Republic is lots of clones now. I think separatists, it would be nice to go back to the droids.
Yeah,
The droids
absolutely.
we are looking for, as they say.
And you get some cool Republic versus Separatist games.
That would be pretty
great.
sweet. I would be into it for
But
sure.
yeah, that's the last comments that I have on the Gauntlet with Bo-Katan. It's a fun ship, and yeah, I think it's been hobbled for some reason.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's just like apparently it's like somehow the Gauntlet will never return. So
It
yeah.
came and went in a blink of an eye.
It came, it saw, it certainly did not conquer.
Well, when it first came out, there was a period of time where everybody was trying to break it. It was getting played a lot.
Rook cast for sure. Rook cast was the star.
Was good, but also not Captain Hark, but the other one in Empire was a great Sloane carrier. I played Gar Saxon. I played Gar Saxon Empire.
But how long has Sloane been banned?
That was the last time Gar Saxon was in play. That was since the Adepticon 2 years ago, like right when 2.5 came out,
or just a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still hard to believe that was only 1 year ago, or a year and a half ago almost, but it was. Actually, it is over a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
All right. JJ from Planning Phase Syndicate asked in our 312 podcast chat, what is about the life cycle of the meta? So how long do you guys think it takes for a meta to clarify after a change? And what is your ideal meta? Manny, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. How long does it take for a minute to clarify? I mean, I don't know how we'll go about answering that question.
Don't you say yo mama again.
I mean, because it feels as if like after every big tournament, it seems that there's always a person that brings a ship or pilot that people just kind of underestimated and kind of show other players like, hey, it's actually usable and it's actually pretty good, right? But in general, I mean, high initiatives still kind of rule X-Wing. Uh, what is my ideal meta? I mean, like a diverse array of playable ships and pilots, with all sorts of initiatives. I feel.
Yeah, I no, I agree with
Yeah.
that. What is your so variety is good. Variety in this game, yes. I won't. I'll jump in after Andrew. Andrew, what about you?
Yeah, so I would say how long it takes to define a meta, I would say the first big tournament is usually when a meta gets solidified. Any event I would say that has like over 35 players is when you start to see it first become established. And that's usually when people start building around that or building things to counter that. And that is what sets the tone for what the meta is going to be. I think that forgot what the big tournament before Gen Con was when we really saw
Lone
this
Star Open.
Lone Star. Yeah, the Lone Star Open is when we saw this meta develop, and people around that time started bringing the Han list to like the store champions, and you start seeing that pop up more on places like List Fortress.
Yep,
Y-
and we're probably
So
Paul Heaver's
yeah,
list as
maybe
well.
maybe about like a month or two though, like after like points changes come out, is when you really start to see the meta. And my ideal meta, I mean, yeah, I would agree with Manny where you have lots of different you want that variance between like like different initiatives, different abilities, and you see a variance of the lists within the factions, which is great. I'm trying to think. I think the meta before this last one,
Hmm.
was pretty fun for me to fly in.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one
I had a
too.
lot of fun with that.
And that was with
Um,
chaffs and everything too.
yeah, that was back with Chavs, but that
Jingoist.
was when I felt like there was more of an ebb and flow to like I that last this last meta, I was flying Empire and I was flying Republic a lot. And I could really switch off between the two and felt like I was doing well with both. Um, versus now I feel like I honestly feel like with this there's just Han when there's one ship that is meta warping,
One pilot, yeah.
one pilot that is warping the meta like that, I think that is maybe the sign of like not as fun of a meta for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a little disappointed with the current meta. Oh, I'm happy that Resistance won at Crossroads. I think that's
Yes.
awesome. It's certainly not impossible for lists like and factions like that to win, but it
No.
does show more about the player skill, I think, in those edge cases.
Hmm. And then Nick, how about you?
Um, Yeah, I agree with you. How long does it take for a meta to clarify? I would say 2 Worlds Open qualifiers or 40 plus player events. The second one usually affirms the first one or adds a little bit even more complement to what you saw the first one. Like it's like yeah you have these, but you also with the second event you also have this. That's really good. So a couple bigger events, you can use those as a good frame of reference, a good sample size to be like, okay, this is clearly what people think is good, and this is clearly what's actually good. My
Yeah,
ideal
and this is
meta. Go ahead.
I would say the second one is where you see what counters the winner of the previous one too.
Right, what people
And
think and
that's
counter.
right.
Yeah, yeah. And then what is my ideal meta is where I want to see more 4 ship lists again, and I want to even see some people take 3 ship lists. I don't want every single list I see to be 5 ships. I know that it's not always the case. Sometimes there are maybe some rebel lists have 4 ships right now, and there are some that have 6 ships or maybe even 7. But usually you can count on it being 5 for the most part. You can count on it being 5. And I'd like to see uh I'd like each faction to have more than 1 or 2 I4s or less be good or be like taken in lists.
Yes.
And I think the only way to do that is to be aggressive with costing the less popular pilots. We talked about Leva and Tenza and T65 with Matt Corser last time, and just making Leva and 3 points because make an aggressive choice, make people look at those things and consider. building a list that's different and taking that value add.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean, there is a downside to that lower initiative. It's good to make that interesting. Where if you have that choice between that, I mean, honestly, that's I think where you're going to get back to what we were seeing in like 2.0, where 3 aces are viable because it's also viable to take 6 I3s
Yeah.
in a list as well.
Yeah, I think I'd love to see more low initiative. I think that's going to be the hardest thing to do to make
Hmm.
it so that we do see more of that, just because when you have I5s and I6s that are the same price or maybe just 1 point more, it's almost like it's a complete no-brainer. You know what you're doing with your list building. No, not throwing any shade at people who are playing more casually, of course, but just from
Yeah,
a competitive perspective, as we talk about the meta.
I feel
Um,
like we're kind of zeroing in on that perfect balance though, because the meta before this one was a lot of low initiative. The whole thing was lots of
oh yeah,
just
the
ships in
debut
general.
meta was rough.
Yeah. Well, the debut meta was just lots of ships in general.
Yeah, and more
Um
low initiative though, like
more
N1s
yes,
and
it was
yeah,
it was definitely a lot more low initiative. I meant the meta before this one, not the
yeah,
first one.
yeah. The
Where I mean
Jingo Wampa
you
meta.
did have the Jingos, but uh there was the I4s was the sweet spot, and you saw lots of I4s. So
Hmm.
it was okay to take I3s, but most ships that were on the field were those I4s, and you could do higher ones, but they were more expensive. Now it kind of pinballed the other way, where now because all the costs on everything came down for those higher initiatives, now it only makes sense to take high initiative. So I think we're in the windshield, we're in the pendulum, we're maybe moving towards something in the middle in the future.
Yeah, I think I prefer the last iteration of the meta versus now, but there were glimpses of things in this one that if we just like do a little bit more work, we'll probably be in the best shape that we've been. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping that that's what we get.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say they made a lot of great choices though in this meta. Like I'm happy that Scum is back, because last meta it was almost nowhere.
I don't know if I agree that Scum is back.
You
I
just have a
Well,
reject. I
pulse.
actually
okay,
reject that.
You
not
just have
back,
a
but
very faint pulse.
they're
There's a
there.
pulse. I like that, Manny. There is a pulse. I mean, the right people are making cut with Scum. One person usually, one
It's not a
person
pulse.
in the
I'd say
cut.
they're out of the ICU.
They're
They're
Ah!
in
yeah,
stable.
yeah,
They're
but they're
stabilized.
rushed. Yeah, they're
They're
being
not.
watched,
They're not
monitored for.
healthy. Yeah, they're not healthy, but they're out of the ICU. They're
They're being
not
monitored.
right, but they're making progress. They're moving
They're
in the
in
right
the yeah. They're
direction.
out of the iron lung.
Yeah, right, and that's good. That's better. That's
Jesus,
I mean,
our
sure.
standards. Oh my god, these analogies are great.
yeah,
Oh man, JJ, appreciate you, man. I appreciate what you do for the
yeah. That was a
community, and
great
thank you for
question.
asking that
That was a lot of
question.
fun to answer. So thank you so much for asking that.
Yeah, appreciate you. All right, guys. Well, let's before we wrap up our show, I wanted to do something that I was a little because of a provocateur. Sometimes I decided to post my Star Wars rankings on Facebook
Oh,
of the
fun.
shows, the Star Wars shows.
Oh wait, okay.
And
I gotta
so
see
I
this.
am going to ask you guys. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna each one of you to rank from your favorite, not necessarily like the objectively, but this is also subjective anyways, but not necessarily what you think is the best, but your favorite, what you enjoyed the most from top to bottom of the Star Wars shows. We are going to be excluding a couple of the children's shows like Resistance. Just
I was
Yo,
about to say,
I
it's like, how could you forget about the critically acclaimed
sorry,
animated
yeah,
Star Wars series Resistance?
but so just
so
How
that's
could
we're
you
we're
forget
count we're
about that
counting animated
masterpiece?
and live action.
we are, yes. We're going to have both animated and live action because the live action is actually taking parts of the animated shows and bringing them to life now, right?
Yeah.
Like very seriously doing that now. So I think that's only fair, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Manny, let's start with you, okay? What's number one? Your favorite of the Star Wars shows thus far?
All right.
We have
Number
that
one.
list as your reference.
All right. Number one would have to be Clone Wars. I feel Clone Wars really did what George Lucas was trying to do with the prequels. It basically redeemed the prequels in a lot of people's eyes, and just the world building and the mythos that was expanded through that show is, and also I kind of grew up with it, so it holds
Sure.
a special place in my heart. So Clone Wars is definitely would be my number one.
Okay. Clone Wars,
Um,
including season 7, of course, because
yeah.
it's still
Oh yeah,
so
of
good.
course. Season seven is
The
like some of
best
the best
season,
Star Wars out
one
there.
of yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
for sure. Number 2.
Okay. Two. Oh, okay. What's okay? Yeah, Andor. Andor has to take it. Andor had to be number two. Just the writing, like the grittiness, seeing a Star Wars that is not traditionally the typical Star Wars series, right? There, like you don't see the Force. There are no Jedi. You literally just see the birth of the rebellion. And just like the brutality of it. And also amazing writing. There's so many
Mhm.
good lines in that show. And
Oh
the
yeah, that
acting's
monologue
great.
from
Oh yes,
Skarsgård.
it's like power does not panic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just a
um,
cool spy thriller. Yeah.
yeah. All right, I should probably hurry up.
It's okay. Number
Um,
3. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're being succinct.
three. Um, Rebels. Uh, not as good as Clone Wars, but a solid show that again expands on what
Did you
happens
mean
at
nothing
the.
against Bad Batch when you say that? Because Clone Wars you put as number 1, so I'm not sure what you mean by nothing against Clone Wars.
No, wait, no, wait. I said wait.
So you said number
Uh,
3 Rebels, nothing against Clone
Three
Wars. I'm like,
Rebels.
I'm confused
No, no,
because you
no.
put Clone Wars as number 1.
Wait. Did I actually say that? Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm
Okay.
just saying
Did you
that
mean
it's
Bad
like
Batch?
no. So I mean to say like it's not as good as Clone Wars.
Oh, gotcha.
But
Okay.
yeah. But again, expands the entire galaxy after episode 3. Ahsoka is basically Rebels season 5, so I'm also gonna. I mean, sure, I'll put it a 4.
Okay.
Uh, Bad Batch.
Are you putting
Uh,
Bad Batch above The Mandalorian?
I mean,
This
season
is a bit-
3. Season 3 really did bring
it's
it down
not
for me.
great for us. Yeah, you and I
Yeah,
didn't like season 3 that much.
the Bad Batch still has some interesting plot threads that have yet to be like.
I love that you're putting The
revealed.
Mandalorian in the doghouse. Oh my god,
I
this is
mean,
the content we're here for.
so after Bad Batch, I would put Obi-Wan, then the Mandalorian, and
Oh
the
my
Book of
god.
Boba Fett.
Oh my god.
Wow.
For the hot takes, I really wanted you to say Book of Boba Fett and then The
Oh,
Mandalorian.
no. I mean,
Those are some hot
the
takes.
only thing that's carried the Book of Boba Fett are those 2 episodes with Luke.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. I forgot that was in there.
That's basically
I
it.
totally forgot that was in there. No wrong
Yeah.
answers. I mean, like, no, that's great that yeah. I mean, you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, the only thing that carries that series are like the last 2 episodes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll get an Obi-Wan in a bit.
Yeah.
Andrew, what about your
That's all right.
rankings?
I put Andor at number 1
Let's
for me,
go.
just because I think that Andor is really it's rewatchable for me. It's what the Star Wars universe and series needs, and it's so great. And it's something that I've had fun maybe recently too. So I think that's why I'm putting it also like number 1 now. Number
The jury
2,
is out if we deserve Andor still.
because it doesn't feel like a Star. It feels like
It's
better than
beyond
a
Star
Star Wars
Wars.
show. Yeah. No, it's just a great TV show, just in general, even if it wasn't Star Wars.
Right.
Number 2, I put Rebels. Rebels it's got a soft spot in my heart. The characters are just so amazing, and the story is so cool. Like, it's one of the reasons why Sabine is like one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe now.
Man, Ahsoka hasn't
And
ruined it for you.
I'm looking at that almost as a different like property. Like, it's just it's those aren't like my characters, I guess.
Okay.
Because it's so weird and it's
Not
so
my
out there in its
Ahsoka.
own thing. I kind of, because like they're cooler in Rebels, and it makes a lot more sense there. And then I put the Clone Wars for number 3 because it's just the episode's depth of story. For all the reasons why Manny said it was number 1 for him. I think that any of these could be interchangeable. Top 1 contenders. My rankings between them, just because I put them in this order, they are so close. Any of these are ones that I'm willing to rewatch. But number 4, I'm also putting The Mandalorian. For me, that I really enjoy it. I think it's perfect spaghetti western. I think that's what kicked off the return of Star Wars and making it great as a TV show. And what Star Wars is, it's like a fun Saturday morning cartoon that I absolutely love. You also hear me, go on rants. I liked season 3 a lot. I thought, it was pretty cool, and I got to identify with the characters. It was great seeing, Bo-Katan Kryze again, and also the Mandalorian gives us some really cool space battles, which we don't really get to see in a lot of Star Wars media. You get to see the Gauntlet be badass, and that's awesome. Makes me want to wish they came out with a scum Naboo starfighter, because it would be just awesome to fly.
Yeah.
So I also really appreciate the Mandalorian for that.
Yeah. Except the Razor Crest for days. Should have destroyed it. I'm so mad about that still.
Yeah, but we got the Razor Crest,
let that
so
go.
that's cool too. I'm just gonna
That's
rip through the
Lego
last,
set,
last
right?
couple ones though. Bad Batch. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm sorry.
Go right
No.
ahead.
No, it's all good. Because I want to get to Nick's takes as well. I love the Bad Batch. Bad Batch is great, and then this is where I'm getting. I honestly, like, the top 3 could all be tied for 1. I think these next could all be tied for the bottom.
What number are we at, Andrew, for you?
We're going into 6, so I put
Okay.
Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and then Book of Boba Fett last.
Yeah.
For that. And
Book of Boba.
They've all fallen flat for me. I mean,
Fat as well.
the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, that was not a Freudian slip. I think it's cool that they got the original actor, and it's great. No, I think that's a fine choice. The Book of Boba Fett, though, it was just it felt like such an opportunity that was missed, and I think that's why it was at the bottom, because it could have been something so cool.
Right.
And they played it so safe. And
Yeah.
why do we have to make him a likable character? I might rewatch it because it's funny. They make a lot of really funny choices. Like, the street urchins are the cleanest things in the galaxy. Like, they look.
Oh, wait, the street urchins.
The street urchins who are like doing Boba Fett's bidding. They're supposed to be like teens that are down their luck, but they have they look like the wealthiest people in Star Wars.
Oh, wait, like the space mopeds?
Yeah,
that
they're
crew?
shiny,
that like
they're
Spy Kid
so
stuff?
shiny.
Yeah.
I've
I
never
really
seen
wish they
anything
died at the end.
And in Tatooine, like, I've never seen anything so clean.
Yeah.
Like, they have to have a lot of money to make it like that clean with all their cybernetic upgrades.
When I think of Book of Boba Fett, I just think of the meme where people were posting the picture of the back of that Twi'lek's head out of context, and it just looked like an ass.
See, now, to me, it was that unnecessary spin that one guy did to like take a shot protecting that, like, yeah.
I'm gonna
It's just
cry.
like whose idea was it to let the Spy Kids guy like run an episode of
Spy
Book of Boba
Kids
Fett?
guy.
Yeah.
It should have been in 3D, dude, where you can have like cool 3D things coming at you on the screen.
That's all he ever is to me.
Now that we're talking about it, maybe Book of Boba Fett is awesome. We just didn't
like
get
Spy Kids level.
We just didn't get it. Yeah, it's a comedy. It's totally, yeah.
I will say though, in Spy Kids 2, there is that very deep line of Steve Buscemi saying, "You think God stays in heaven in fear of what He's created?" And I'm just like, you don't deserve that. That movie doesn't deserve that deep of a line.
Yeah, that right, like that cool of a line. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, should I do mine real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, when I look at this list, I see a lot of flaws. Just it's like I see Andor. It's like Andor, and then just a lot of flawed shows, like in just
Diamond's
different
waiting to be
ways.
polished. Yeah.
Just well, yeah, Diamonds is There's something. They might be rocks, might be diamonds. I mean, but every show there is stuff that I really loved, even little tiny nuggets of Book of Boba Fett, very small parts, but.
Yeah.
Like 2 episodes.
Number 1 is Andor for sure. I'm some of you guys know I'm kind of a cinephile, and I love things feeling really gritty and cold and dark, and I just thought that Andor is like the closest thing to like an adult oriented, adult forward show that took itself very seriously, and I loved everything about that. So Andor is definitely number one. I think good writing in Star Wars. Hopefully, maybe they take some lessons from the folks who did work on that. On Andor, very esteemed, credible people. Number two, this is where starts to get hard. So, do I go? I'm looking at Clone Wars. I'm looking at Rebels, and between those two, I think. Oh, this is hard. I'm gonna go with Clone Wars. Rebels is really close, though. The reason why I go with Clone Wars over Rebels is just because, as Manny pointed out, I think there's a lot of depth and world building, and just it was very much aware of the kind of things it was trying to set up for
Also, Clone
characters like
Wars
Anakin.
Yes. Yeah.
was extremely brutal. Like Clone Wars did not hold back in terms
But
of
there's also some
brutality.
really bad but here's the downside of Clone Wars. There's way less cringe in Rebels than there is in Clone Wars. There's some really
That's fair.
like the Bombad Gungan episode, anything with Padme and the Rodian who she called her uncle. That was interesting.
I don't remember, but okay.
Well, you blacked it out. There's just some cringe, but
To
yeah,
be
Clone
fair,
Wars
I mean-
finished on a high note for sure.
Yeah.
And in Ahsoka, everybody, has an attach. Well, to get into Ahsoka in a second, they have an attachment to Ahsoka because of Clone Wars. She, as just like Anakin, started off as a very kind of bland and annoying character, and kind of grew into a more respectable, more badass, supporting protagonist type character, which is cool. But I do, my opinions on Ahsoka, I don't love Ahsoka as much as some of the biggest Ahsoka fans out there. I think she's cool. That's really where I draw the line. I like her. Number 3, Rebels. Harrison Dula, Kanan Jarrus are two of my favorite characters from the Disney era, like next to Krennic, and a couple other. I just like the whole cast of Spectre Squadron in general. I thought they were all cool. Sabine and Zeb and Chopper, and I'm sure, am I missing somebody? I don't think so. But so Rebels number 3, and then number 4, I'm gonna go with The Mandalorian at number 4. Season 1, spaghetti western, like you said, Andrew, is a little formulaic, but it was cool. It set the tone. It was the tone setter for what was to come.
It was great.
First season had a couple of not great episodes, but overall was pretty good. Second season, I thought was great. I thought they really buttoned up the episodes feeling kind of the same after a while, where you would just kind of do a side quest. I loved season 2, especially the end. Season 3, I was disappointed by, and I thought it lacked a direction until the very end, when it felt just a little too late. But I would give it number 4. Number 5, Obi-Wan. Nostalgia, but your boy's got a little bit of nostalgia in him. And I thought, outside of a couple of moments, I actually thought the show was pretty good. It wasn't as good. It wasn't as good as I would have liked it to be, but for me, it was good enough that I don't look upon it with like dissatisfaction and like resentment. I wish it could have been better, because it should have been a little bit better, but it was fine. I put Ahsoka after Obi-Wan. I think Ahsoka is probably a better show, but it's more boring for me. I thought it just didn't really hit the height of what it could have been, and I think it was just too slow for way too long. And then the highs were really high, as Manny and I experienced some awesomeness together of Ahsoka. Some really good stuff in that show. Like, I just felt like a lot of the characters were just kind of boring or underdeveloped, even though they seemed interesting, or they were like, there was a lot of potential. We didn't get any delivery on that.
Because they
didn't like that.
Like, these are characters that have such rich backstories, and for them to feel so flat and underdeveloped when it comes to live action is just weird.
Yeah.
Yep. Animation's always better.
Props to Bad Batch. It was a show that surprised me pleasantly, and I was really thrilled with the first season. The second season, I didn't care for about half, maybe a third of the second season, but Bad Batch, it was really good. I just got to give them kudos, because it was really solid. So I put it right after Ahsoka. It seems to be bottom of the list, but to me, Bad Batch can be adjacent to Rebels and Clone Wars, and it can also be adjacent to Ahsoka. Like, it's just kind of all over the place for me. It's because of what it connects to.
Makes more sense.
A tier list, maybe next time. But visually, you can't really, like, it's hard to do a tier list, over a podcast, right? And then Book of Boba Fett, we talked about it already. It's just it was unnecessary, and if they were gonna, I would have just preferred them to do like episodes, like short episodes about different bounty hunters, like a Dengar episode, a Greedo episode, a Zuckuss episode, a Boba
That would have been
episode.
cool. That would have been
Chronicles of
way
Bounty
better.
Hunters would have been way better. And you know what? Fucking hire me, Lucasfilm. Excuse my language, but hire me and I'll freaking make it happen.
So what I thought would have been cool is if Boba Fett comes out of the Sarlacc pit, he's stranded on Tatooine, has nowhere to go, and has to work, and he becomes the Marshal of Tatooine. He fills like that role after Timothy Oliphant's character, and then but he keeps forgetting that
That
he's
was
like
called
a
Mos
good
something,
guy.
right? It
Huh?
was some Mos. It was called.
Oh, Mos
It was-
Eisley.
Mos Espa.
Mos
Wait.
Espa.
No, I don't think it was Espa either. It was some other Mos Pelgo.
Pelgo.
Oh.
That was where Timothy Oliphant's character was. I
Oh,
think.
gotcha. Okay.
Sorry.
But
to
all right,
interrupt.
even still, even if he becomes like he becomes a marshal and just keeps forgetting that because he's using his bounty hunter skills to be a marshal, but he keeps
Yeah.
being bad at it because he forgets that he's like a good guy.
Yeah.
Like now, and that way they could make him a good, like a quote unquote good guy, like how Disney like wanted to, but he's a reformed bad guy. Like he's just keeps going to his old like antics to like break the law to get stuff done,
Yeah.
and then he could have like a boss who's like, God darn it.
It's weird that they kind of they
Uh.
kind of bully, they almost peer pressured Tamura Morrison into being like an actor that he's not and playing a character that it doesn't belong as a main protagonist for an
Yeah.
entire series.
Right,
Tamura is
right.
not that guy, and I he's a great guy, great
I-
voice, he looks great, but he's not like an A-list, B-list, or even I wouldn't even know how he was retired as an actor until this.
I mean, I think he
I
could
have no idea.
be that guy. I don't think it was him, his acting. I think he was very earnest in his acting. I think it was the writing.
Some criticisms were that he had his helmet off too much and talked just a little too much. I actually agree with that. I think him being a little bit more badass, mysterious, and wearing his helmet would have just helped a little bit on its own.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would have been cool. But Boba Fett was the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy. Was like known for being ruthless, and then you have a teddy bear.
This might come out to just wrap up my ranking. This might come off as a little hypocritical based on my opinions on Obi-Wan, but I just want, for our standards' sake and just what we've been able to see with all of these shows and the potential, especially maximized by Andor, is just because there are celebrity cameos, just because there are callbacks to some of your favorite moments, and just because there are mentions or the existence of a character that you like, it doesn't automatically make the show good. I think I struggle with that with Ahsoka a little bit. Is like, yeah, Ahsoka's in it and it's about Ahsoka, but it still needs to be good. That doesn't just make it good. So I know that people are gonna hate me for saying that because they're like, I just love Star Wars. I love Star Wars too, but I need more. And like, you got to develop these things. And I just feel like we all of these shows besides Andor have just like been on the precipice of being like as good as they should have been, but they just fell flat in just development in key areas, characters, writing, whatever, right? So
I agree.
yeah. Cool. I'm gonna just run through some upcoming events, and then Andrew, you can do our outro. So
Sounds great.
All right, our Windy City Trials Turkey Trot is coming up pretty soon. It's November 18th at Good Games Chicago. We still have a few spots available. It will be an official event, which means a Worlds invite will be on the line. It'll be one of the last Worlds invite related events or official events in the Midwest of the year. So if you're able to make it, love to have you. We always have a good time at Good Games. PAX Unplugged is December 1 through 3 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's going to be a pretty big Worlds Open qualifier at the beginning of December. And then, of course, LVO will be the last Worlds Open qualifier, the Las Vegas Open in January 18th through the 21st. That is it for upcoming events.
Well, hey, thanks everyone for listening to this episode. When we return, we will discuss overcoming the new player barriers and how to find your calling in the X-Wing community at large. And Nick, if you want to tell them where they can find us.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys should join in on the conversation with us on Discord. Of course, in this instance, JJ asked us a question. We have a section for our podcast where you can ask us to talk about specific topics, and maybe we'll pick it to include in the next episode that we record. You can follow us on Facebook to keep up to date with us. You can watch our live streams on Twitch. And if you miss our live streams, you can always watch edited content and replays of our streams on our YouTube channel.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. And I'm Andrew.
I'm Nick.
I'm Manuel.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.